Hi, I'm Lisa. As a dedicated architect, I've not only designed buildings but also built a stable and accomplished life for myself. By 32, I was living in a home of my own design. A true dream turned reality. This achievement stood in stark contrast to my younger sister Rachel's approach to life. At 27, she preferred taking the easy route, relying heavily on our parents for support. Our relationship had always been a bit strained, largely due to Rachel's tendency to stir up drama whenever she felt overshadowed. Despite this, I tried to maintain peace and offer support, even though it often felt one-sided. Lisa, you're always so put together. Must be nice not having any real problems, Rachel would tease, her voice dripping with a mix of envy and sarcasm. I've had my fair share, Rachel. Just because I don't broadcast them doesn't mean they don't exist, I'd reply, trying to keep the peace. When Rachel announced her engagement to Mike, a guy she'd been dating for just a few months, I was hopeful yet cautious. This could be her chance to finally mature and take responsibility for her own life. He's amazing, Lisa. You'll see he's different from the rest, Rachel gushed one evening as we sat in my living room, her eyes sparkling with excitement. That's great, Rachel. I really hope it works out, I replied, masking my reservations with a smile. How did you two meet? At that yoga retreat I went to last spring. It was like an instant connection, she explained, fluttering her hands dramatically. Our parents were thrilled, immediately throwing themselves into wedding planning. They had a soft spot for Rachel and often indulged her more whimsical desires. I couldn't help but feel a bit sidelined, as usual, the responsible, reliable one. Lisa dear, we were thinking a wedding could be in your backyard. It's just perfect, my mom proposed one afternoon, her tone hopeful. I hesitated, my heart sinking a bit. We can talk about it, sure. Let's see what Rachel thinks. As much as I wanted to be supportive, I was also protective of my space, my sanctuary. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of what would become one of the most outrageous demands Rachel would ever make on me. During a family dinner, the air was light with excitement over Rachel's upcoming wedding, until the moment she dropped a bombshell on me. Since we're all here, I have something important to ask. Lisa, you know how much I love your house, right? It's just perfect for Mike and me to start our married life. I choked on my water, coughing a little as I processed her words. You're joking, right? Not at all. It's way too big for just you, and what better gift than helping your little sister out? Our parents exchanged uneasy glances, clearly torn. Lisa, maybe it's something to think about. It could really help Rachel and Mike, Mom suggested gently, trying to smooth things over. Dad, what do you think? I was desperate for some support, looking toward him with pleading eyes. Well, it is an unusual request, but it's also an opportunity for us to keep the family close, Dad added, his voice neutral. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You want me to give up my home, the home I built from scratch, as a wedding gift? Rachel's eyes widened, feigning surprise. It's not like I'm asking for a handout. Think of it as passing it on to family. Isn't that what families do? Help each other. Helping is one thing. This is something else entirely, I retorted, feeling the tension rise. It's just a house, Lisa. You can always build another, Rachel chimed in, her tone dismissive. Just a house. Rachel, you know how hard I've worked for it. It's not about the bricks and mortar. It's about what it represents. Mom tried to mediate. Maybe there's a way to make everyone happy. Lisa, could you at least think it over for the family? As the meal progressed, the atmosphere soured. Each comment from Rachel felt like another jab, another reminder that my hard work was being undervalued. You're being really selfish, Lisa. I thought you'd be happy to support me on my big day. Supporting your wedding and giving away my home are two very different things, Rachel, Dad sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. Let's not turn this dinner into an argument. Lisa, take some time to think it over. All right. I nodded, more out of a desire to end the conversation than any agreement. As the dinner wrapped up, the weight of the conversation hung over me like a dark cloud. I needed a plan, a way to show them the absurdity of Rachel's request without tearing the family apart. That night, as I lay in bed, the walls of my home felt more precious than ever. The idea of handing over my sanctuary was unimaginable, yet the pressure from my family was real and pressing. I knew something had to be done, and simply refusing wasn't going to be enough. They needed to see Rachel's true colors, and I had just the idea to make that happen. After tossing and turning all night, I decided to call Mike. Surprisingly, he was just as frustrated as I was with Rachel's demands. Listen, Mike, I think we need to show her what it really means to own a home. It's not all dinner parties and decorating. Exactly, Lisa. She doesn't understand half of what goes into it. What do you have in mind? How about a trial period? Rachel moves in thinking she'll inherit the house. But we set up real-life challenges. Let her handle everything I do daily, from bills to unexpected repairs. Mike paused, then chuckled. You're serious? Like a reality check, yes. But it has to look supportive, not like a setup. Can you handle being on the inside? You bet. I'll make sure she doesn't suspect a thing. The next day, I invited Rachel over, putting on my best big sister face. So I've been thinking about your proposal, and maybe there's a way to work this out. How about a trial period? You and Mike move in and handle everything. If after 3 months it feels right, we can talk about transferring the house. Rachel's eyes lit up. Really? You do that? Of course, I replied. But it's not just about living here. It's about managing everything, bills, maintenance, the whole deal. Sounds easy enough, right, babe? Rachel turned to Mike, who nodded enthusiastically. Great, let's start this weekend. I'll help you settle in. As they moved in, I laid out the homeowner's handbook I had created, complete with budget sheets and a schedule of maintenance tasks. The first challenge was simple: a clogged sink. Just call a plumber, right? Rachel asked, scrolling through her phone. Nope, you're going to fix it. That's what homeowners do, I insisted, handing her a plunger and a wrench. Mike reported to me daily. She's already complaining. Missed her nail appointment because she had to wait for the HVAC guy. The hidden cameras I'd installed for security, which I'd informed them about, captured every tantrum and mishap. Rachel struggling to reset a tripped breaker, her meltdown over the lawnmower not starting, and her fury when the weekly budget fell short. Each day brought new challenges. I made sure the problems were just tough enough to push her but still believable as regular homeownership woes. Why is everything breaking? Rachel exclaimed one evening as another appliance had cuped. That's home life, Rachel. Things happen, I replied, hiding my smirk. As the weeks passed, Rachel's facade began to crack. Complaints piled up, and her true nature surfaced more with each passing day. Mike kept me updated, but he was growing wary too. This was a good idea, Lisa, but I'm not sure how much more I can take. She's not the person I thought she was. Just a bit longer, Mike. I think everyone needs to see this, especially our parents. The final week approached, and I planned a grand final. A mock house assessment to test all that Rachel had learned. The family was invited to see the results, setting the stage for what I hoped would be a revealing conclusion to this little experiment. As the family gathered, curious to see how Rachel had managed, the backyard was set up like a small festival. Everyone was in a jovial mood, unaware of the brewing storm. So Rachel, ready to show us how you've handled the house? I asked, handing her a checklist of the day's tasks. This is ridiculous, Lisa. Why do I need to prove anything? Rachel snapped, her patience thinning. It's all part of the trial. Everyone's here to support you. As Rachel attempted the first task, fixing a leaky faucet, the problems began. The faucet had been rigged to be a bit more troublesome than usual, a final test of her problem-solving skills. Why will this thing just work? Rachel's voice rose in frustration, echoing through the backyard as our relatives watched. You have to tighten it more, maybe, Mike suggested, trying to guide her without stepping in. I am tightening it, Mike. Nothing's happening. Moving on, Rachel was to balance the monthly budget. I had slightly altered the numbers as they wouldn't quite add up, testing her attention to detail and patience. This doesn't make any sense. These numbers are off, Rachel exclaimed, throwing down the pen. It should all be there, Rachel. Maybe take another look, I urged, keeping my tone neutral. I've looked 3 times, Lisa. Are you sure you didn't mess this up just to make me look bad? The final straw came with the lawn maintenance. Overnight, I'd had extra fast-growing grass seed spread, which made the yard look like it hadn't been mowed in weeks. Now for the lawn, Rachel. It seems to have grown quite a bit, huh? I remarked casually. This is impossible. It wasn't this high yesterday. Did you do this, Lisa? Rachel's face was a mix of anger and desperation. No, why would I do that? Grass grows, you know. That's part of having a home. I can't do this anymore. You set this all up to fail. You never wanted to give me the house." Her outburst caught everyone's attention. Mom and Dad looked on, bewildered by the scene unfolding. "Rachel, calm down. Let's talk about this." Mom tried to intervene. "No, Mom, you need to see how Lisa has been torturing me with these impossible tasks. She's been setting me up to fail this whole time." The family gathering, meant to be a celebration, turned into a spectacle of Rachel's meltdown. As difficult as it was, this was the moment of truth, revealing not just the condition of the house, but the true dynamics at play. After Rachel's public meltdown, the atmosphere was thick with tension and disbelief. As she stormed off into the house, tears streaming down her face, Mom and Dad approached me, their expressions heavy with regret. "We're so sorry, Lisa. We never realized how much pressure we put on you, or how unreasonable Rachel's demands were," Mom said softly. "It's not just about the house, Mom. It's about respecting each other's lives and efforts." "I hope Rachel sees that now," I replied. Dad nodded, his usual jovial demeanor subdued. "We've been too lenient with her, always making excuses. It's time we all took responsibility for our actions, especially Rachel." I turned towards Mike, who looked like he was carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. Despite everything, I felt a twinge of sympathy for him. "I'm calling off the wedding, Lisa. I can't marry into this dynamic. It's not healthy for anyone," Mike said, his voice laced with resignation. "You have to do what's best for you, Mike. I'm sorry it had to end this way." He managed a weak smile. "Thanks for opening my eyes, Lisa. I hope Rachel learns from this. I really do." As the guests left, their murmurs of the day's drama echoing in the air, I took a moment to savor the quiet of my home. For the first time in weeks, I felt a sense of peace. The next morning, Rachel joined me in the kitchen, her eyes puffy from crying, her voice shaky. "I'm sorry, Lisa. I didn't realize how out of line I was until I saw everyone's reactions yesterday. It's a start, Rachel, but apologies are just the beginning. You need to make some real changes." "I know. I'm going to start therapy and find a place for Mike and me." "Well, just me now," she admitted, her voice tinged with regret. "That sounds like a good plan. Remember, Rachel, respect isn't given. It's earned, and that starts with respecting yourself enough to take responsibility for your life." Rachel nodded, a glimmer of understanding in her eyes. "I'll try, Lisa. Really, I will." As the house slowly returned to its usual serene state, Mom and Dad began to see our family dynamics in a new light. They started setting boundaries with Rachel, who moved into a small apartment, began therapy, and took a more active role in managing her finances and life. It was a long road ahead, but there was hope that she could turn her life around. Meanwhile, I reclaimed my space and peace, focusing on my career and personal growth. The entire ordeal taught me the importance of boundaries and the strength it takes to maintain them. In the end, the house remained my sanctuary, a symbol of my hard work and dedication. And as for Rachel, with a bit of luck and a lot of work, maybe she'd find her own way, building something truly her own, rooted in reality and respect, not entitlement. The story of Lisa and Rachel has come to an end, but the conversation doesn't have to. What do you think about Lisa's decision to put Rachel through the homeownership test? Was it a fair strategy to expose Rachel's entitlement, or do you think there were better ways to handle the situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story and want to catch more like it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.